October 17th, 2017. Well, we got down to 31 degrees last night. Got a first light frost for the season. Just wanted to point out that the basil actually didn't all get completely frozen, which is really impressive. Basil usually doesn't hold out well below 40 degrees. I think the reason for that is I recently did an application of Accelerate to keep full trace mineral and hormonal support in place, because I'm actually doing these for a seed run for next year to scale up basil production. And the other thing I did was right next to that, this is where the new garlic plot is going to be. I think I've discussed this in other videos. So I put down a heavy shot of Sea Shield and some Spectrum Extra, which is a microbial inoculant. And Sea Shield is basically a mix of seaweed and trace mineral support. So I think that's a huge contributing factor. Also, since I did that, that was about a week ago, the basil has put on new growth. So I'll just show you here quick. These are new shoots that have all come on in the past week or so since I put that down. And also the thyme here, which you probably didn't notice, but is hidden here, getting established next to the basil, also put on a lot of new growth. And so I'm pretty excited about that. The main reason I brought you out here today, though, was to talk about frost, and that we did get a light frost, and that not all of our plants took damage from it, including some peppers and tomatoes. At least they're not showing anything as of yet. I'll check back on them later today and again tomorrow. You can see there is, these are the kimchi peppers. These got started a little late, but doing pretty well. I've harvested a few off of them. There's quite a few large green ones on there. But you can see that we got a little bit of frost damage on this one here. Admittedly, I did cover these with a wool blanket last night, so they had a little more protection than the other stuff here. But we'll go down to the tomato plot here, and well, on the way I want to stop and show you in the potato patch where some of the new weeds have come up, where they died from frost or took a lot of damage from frost. So you can see these were new growing weeds. These were just up in the past week or two since potatoes were harvested out of here, and they were healthy lush green leaves, and now that you can see they've been frosted off and they're dying back. It obviously wasn't a real heavy frost because it didn't penetrate the lower canopy, but it was a frost nonetheless. And if you know peppers and tomatoes, they usually give up at the first sign of frost. So that said, let's have a look at some peppers. These are the California Wonders that I've been wondering if they were ever going to produce. Apparently we just didn't have enough nutrition for them, because since I put down some Sea Shield and Spectrum Extra on this upper plot in prep for next year, and that'll also get a microbial stimulant. But since that, they've shot on new growth and they've started developing peppers. You can see there is some frost damage here on the tomato plant that was hanging over to them. And you can see some of the leaves took damage, but not all of them. So that's interesting to note. The jalapeno peppers, some of them took damage, some didn't. Again, we have some with healthy, you know, erect, happy leaves. I did come through and harvest off the majority of the ripe or nearly ripe fruit on them last night, although I see I did miss a few red ones. And well, let's look at cherry tomatoes while we're at it. Cherry tomatoes showing a little bit more of a potassium deficiency than a frost damage, but again, healthy erect plant growth here. You know, new shoots coming on. And we're not supposed to get any more frost for at least another week or so, according to the forecast. So who knows, maybe we'll even throw a few more flowers on these before the season's done. We'll try and get you back down here and show you if the opportunity presents itself. Green peppers. Those are so sweet. Same thing. Some damage on a few leaves, but for the most part, the plants survived it. So I attribute that to the high fertility program. We're not completely at full tilt yet on fertility here, but we're definitely working our way up the scale, and we're starting to see the results of working our way up the nutrition scale, where you start to have higher brick sap in your plants, and that keeps them from freezing as easily when frost and cold weather sets in. So anyway, I thought my viewers would appreciate that, and I hope you'll check us out next time. If you have any questions or comments, or you want to learn more about this, feel free to comment below, and don't forget to subscribe if that's your thing. Thanks for watching the Farmacy Seeds Network. October 20th, 2017. So I did a short tour the other day after we had that 30.5 degree frost, and I said that some of the tomatoes made it through. Oftentimes you'll get a frost and the damage won't show up until later that day or the next day. So I just want to say 30.5 degrees, 30.5 degrees. We had tomatoes that lived through that frost and are still flowering. See those flowers right there. So this is what happens when you start getting soil health really right. And obviously I don't have it 100% correct, or you wouldn't see any of that potassium deficiency, or what everyone else calls blight, on the bottoms of these plants. But we are definitely making progress. I also want to point out that these peppers are still alive, and there's actually fresh flowers coming on. These are jalapeno peppers. I've never seen peppers take a frost before and survive it, but here we are now, and that is very encouraging. These are the green peppers, and you can see there is some frost damage on the tips here and there. They definitely took a little bit of a hit from it, but at the end of the day, we survived a frost about 1.5 degrees below freezing, and with no protection, no overhead irrigation, just simply by building up the health and nutrition of the soil, and consequently the health and nutrition of the plants, which increases the Brix index of the sap in the plants, which makes them more resistant to frost or freezing. Just like they use beet juice on the roads here in New York as a pre-snowfall antifreeze to make it easier to scrape the roads off. I understand they're also using that in tractor tires now instead of sodium hypochlorite. I think that's what they used to use. Same concept applies. If you have enough sugar content in a fluid, its temperature for freezing goes down significantly, down as in what it takes to make it freeze. So I hope this illustrates what truly healthy soils and plants can do. Next year I'm going to show you the next level of that, because I'm going to be building this soil all through the winter and into next season with some microbial stimulants and inoculants. And you can see I'm also running the chicken tractor down here. The results I had with these tomatoes, where the chicken tractor was versus where it wasn't as long, showed me how effective the chicken tractor really is. So I'm going to run some intensive chicken tractoring on this in between now and next growing season, and that'll help improve the soil as well. And yeah, I guess that about covers it for now. You have anything to say, Rooster? Can you give us a crow? A cock-a-doodle-doo? For once, he has nothing to say. Thanks for watching the Farmacy Seeds Network.